We talked about with the Gospel Weeklies on things that you think about when you're a organizer, a DRE, a coordinator, things that you're thinking about when you're trying to plan your program. And so I wanted to talk briefly about the Gospel Weeklies as a whole, but the one thing I wanted to bring up is the history of the Gospel Weeklies. Last year, I don't know if everyone realizes this point, but I think this is so exciting. Last year, we celebrated the 40th anniversary of the Gospel Weeklies. 40. I mean, how exciting is that? 40 years. We've been around for a long time. We've grown along the long time. And then also last year, we actually had an apostolic blessing from Pope Francis as well. So the Gospel Weeklies has been around a very, very long time. And it's a very seasoned, wonderful, full program that you can offer to your children, to your faith formation program. Okay, so the one thing to remember is that we have 5 grade levels of the Gospel Weeklies. We have seeds, which, and I want you to also pay attention to the purple notation, like color coding, because color coding is important, and you'll see that as the program goes through. But we have seeds for pre-K, and then we have promise, that is kindergarten through 1st grade. And then we have good news, that's 2nd grade through 3rd grade. And then we have venture, that is 4th grade through 6th. And visions, that is 7th through 9th grade. So we cover pre-K all the way through 9th grade. All the program, or all the grade levels are set up in the same way with 3 different components. And so this is the one thing for the registrants who are interested in learning about the Gospel Weeklies program, and they're maybe brand new to the program. These are some important thought process to think about. Do I want to use this program this fall? We have a 3-component program. We have a handbook called the What the Church Believes and Teaches Handbook. This is our Catholic doctrine. This is what the program is. And then our student pages are centered around our handbook, the Catholic doctrine. Handbook, or the student pages, come nested together. Okay, so you just take off a page at a time. They come to you nested together, and each student page has a dated date in the upper left-hand corner. So that's important to remember. The Gospel Weekly follows the feasts and the seasons of the liturgical year. We are a liturgical-based Gospel Weekly faith formation program, and it connects with the Sunday liturgy every week. It encourages mass attendance. And we also promote the real presence of the Eucharist, and that's in every student program. Then the 3rd component is the teaching guide. The teaching guide, we will be showing the screen here in a little bit. Bob will be sharing his screen, and we'll walk through a little bit more where you can see the actual component. But this is the scope and sequence for Unit 1 here in the front. So every program, every grade level, are 3 different resources for you to use. And as we were mentioning before, how do we make this program for the seasoned catechist? Is there more information that you can find to dive deeper for that catechist, to provide that catechist more information? Yes, there is. Is there a simple way for a new catechist that's just coming on, that's so nervous to teach? Is there a way for them to teach the program? Yes, there is. And in a little bit, we'll be talking about family catechesis. That's a whole nother animal in itself. Family catechesis, maybe that's the way that you're thinking about going this next fall. Well, we have a webinar coming up. Gosh, it is in August 24th, to be exact, at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So put that on your calendar. And we'll be talking about Gospel Weeklies being used as family catechesis. Okay, so I'm going to ask Erika if she's available to pop on and introduce Erika to you. Erika Ramos, dear Kitty, she's our bilingual editor. She is the person, the face behind the Seeds program, the Seeds Gospel Weeklies. We love having Erika, and she also is the bilingual translator. She translates all the different Gospel Weeklies into the Spanish program, because remember, Gospel Weeklies, we do offer it in English and Spanish. So Erika, welcome. We love having you, and please tell us a little bit about your Seeds program that you create.
Thank you so much, Jen. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Well, as Jen mentioned, my biggest responsibility is translating the whole program, our 5 levels, into Spanish, not just translating, but making sure we enculturate our resources into the Hispanic culture and traditions. Also, I am responsible for Seeds, our preschool level. It's for children 3 and 4 years old. What we do with Seeds, Jen, is that when children are this little, we as catechists prepare them to join their parish community. We cannot start by bombarding them with doctrine and having them memorizing prayers like little parrots just repeating. Right. We want them to have that experience of belonging. We do that through activities that are aimed for the specific age, but that doesn't mean that our Seeds program is religious light, that it's just over the surface. We go as deep as we can go with children that age. As you mentioned, our lessons are gospel centered. They go according to the liturgical year. We have 32 lessons throughout the school year, divided in 4 units. So the lesson that the children are gonna study in school or at home, if you have a family-based program, is the same gospel they're gonna listen to at Mass with their family that Sunday. And that's wonderful, because that opens a complete conversation at home. The children will, parents can ask them, did you hear that in the gospel? Oh yeah, and I remember doing that with Miss Miller, or Sunday with the gospel, and I did a coloring page about that. So that is very exciting. And as I said, that focuses and that strengthens family catechesis. We teach faith statements of the Creed, the 7 sacraments, 10 commandments, Beatitudes, and the Church's tradition. And just because the children are young, it doesn't mean that we cannot go into doctrine. We have a Catechism Manual that you just showed, that is part of the program that you're going to receive, the lessons, the Catechism Manual, and the teaching guide. And this is adapted to the age and to the learning abilities of a 3 and a 4-year-old. It still is based on the 4 pillars of the Catechism, but it's adapted and brought into the level of understanding of a little kid. So we take into account the physical development of our little ones. They are so much fun. I had the opportunity of teaching preschool. It's exhausting. Yes. Hats off to you, catechists of preschoolers. But it's so much fun because they are so open. At this stage, they're gonna start their dialogue with God, because God reveals himself through the scripture, through the doctrine of the church, and they are gonna start receiving it and responding to that message. So we incorporate body movement, a lot of songs, a lot of moving activities. On our teaching guide, we suggest having separate areas around the classroom to move the children around, because if you haven't sitting down listening or just cutting or just coloring, they're gonna get tired. So our program takes that into account. We provide those areas and those spaces that are divided in the lesson with time frames for you. You don't even have to worry about or how long should I be reading or how long should I be singing. All that is done for you on our teaching guide. We take into consideration that 3 and 4 year olds are very egocentric. They still can't. They're not still wired to share and to take the perspective of others. So if you tell them Jesus says, love others as you love yourself, they're not gonna get it because they're not wired for it still. But we can introduce them to the concept. They can recognize when somebody else feels bad, and we go from there and build up so they can get there when they're mature enough. They learn through their senses. So we have a lot of movement, a lot of activities where they touch, when they cut, when they glue, and when they get a little bit messy, just a little bit. We try not to make it that hard for the catechist because we'll get a lot of emails. And the fact that the Gospel Weeklies have, and I'm sure you're going to talk about a teaching process that goes from sharing experiences of their short life so they can focus and put themselves into a situation that's going to relate to the gospel message that is going to be shared for them that week, and also to the doctrinal concept that is going to be learned that week. That is wonderful, I think. And then sending them home with a way of living that message that they just learned and that they just put into their own perspective. I think that's wonderful.
Well, and the one thing I love about the SEEDS program, and all grade levels, always pops out to me about the pictures, the photos. They're so bright, so vivid, and it just really pulls, I think, the children in. It's so colorful. And then as the grade levels get older, there's more verbiage, I should say, or editorial. But some of the different things that you see on the SEEDS program, I think they're so unique. Some of the pictures and the activities that really encourage children to learn.
Yes, we try to make it fun for them and something that they will remember, not something else just to fill and throw away, but something that involves their whole being, their whole experience. And we not only use illustrations, we also use real people, like pictures or photos.
That's right. So they can see themselves.
Exactly. We use pictures of children their age, all sizes, all colors, all types of families, so they can see themselves in the images that we share with them in the lesson.
And like Erika mentioned just a little bit ago, their pages here, we talked about earlier that they come nested together. It's another wonderful feature of the Gospel Weeklies, because then these can not only be turned around and sent home if you're having your religious education in the classroom, they can turn around and take this right to Mass and be able to follow right along with their pastor, and then take it home and even talk about later in the week. So that is wonderful. I think that's a wonderful feature of the Gospel Weeklies for sure.
Yeah, many times in the lower levels, we have maybe a prayer or maybe a piece of art that we suggest parents to keep on their dining table so they can repeat that prayer throughout the week as a family, or it's maybe the Hail Mary to help them memorize the prayer at home. So we send that in a particular frame or like a little folded as a tent so they can have it in a specific place at home and keep reviewing it and practicing it with their family.
And we have a comment in the chat from Emily that was talking about family catechesis, using the Gospel Weeklies as family catechesis. And we are going to talk a little bit more detail about that here shortly. But as family catechesis goes, Erika, what do you feel are some of the features of the SEEDS program?
we have a family corner in each lesson. That family corner has a question for the family to have a dialogue about the
Yes.
message of that specific lesson. It has a prayer to pray as a
Yes.
family together, and sometimes it would have like an activity so they can act up on take a walk through nature and thank God if that week's message was about God the Creator, or something that's related to that.
Yes.
We also have in case you have families teaching, you have parents or guardians teaching children, we have a simplified teaching guide for them because we know they don't have the background as catechists or teachers. We have a parent teaching pages, we call them.
Yes.
And we take parents through the lesson so they can teach that lesson to their children in a very simple way without needing that background as catechists. And we have a couple of resources.
Yes.
Jan, that's the Gospel for All Ages and the Gospel at Home. Those are resources that we have available for our families, in which we give you prompts on what to talk about with your child, and it's for every level. So if you have a teenager and a 5-year-old, you're going to have in one piece of paper what they learned in their class and what questions you could ask and talk about as a family. So I think that's very important and very valuable.
Absolutely. And very successful. This past year and after the pandemic, the Gospel Weeklies has been a savior for so many parishes who were utilizing our program as family catechesis. And it's just perfect because we can be used in the parish on campus and then sent home. We can be used as homeschooling. So we will, as soon as we wrap up here with Erika, we will also be sharing the screen. Bob will be sharing his screen, and we're going to walk through the items that Erika had just mentioned. We're going to show you the parent teaching pages. The parent teaching pages came about, like Erika mentioned, right? It's a concept that's being used to assist families teaching and teaching at home. It really came about also during the pandemic because at that point, everyone was teaching at home. Then we found out how wonderful that simple format was, and we're not going to change the name. We're going to keep it parent teaching pages so everyone knows, but it also assists, like I was saying earlier, to the catechists who are brand new, who are teaching on campus, that just wanted way to teach the program and be consistent. Consistency is so important, and to be consistent in your teaching. So we'll show that here in just a second. But Erika, thank you so much for
my pleasure
and sharing your expertise on this grade level. We love it. And if you would, we hope that you'll come back and talk with us again soon.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Erika. Have a wonderful day.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, so let's, Bob, just give me 1 second, because what I wanted to do, and once she logs off, I think that my screen will be back showing, but I wanted to show an area that she was talking about. She was talking about in the teaching guide, I mentioned earlier to pay attention to the color coding. And I don't know, her name is still up on my screen, Bob. I don't know if you see something different, but anyway, can you see me talking, or is it still black, Bob? Okay.
I can see you. I can see you talking.
Oh, you can? Okay,
yes.
Oh, great. Okay, so the teaching guide, where we were talking earlier about color coding, we said be on the lookout for color codes, because every grade level does have a specific code kind of to its grade level. So you can kind of start identifying by color. But Erika was talking about color coding in the teaching guide. And saying, this is the actual sample of Teaching Guide Unit 1. And all grade levels are 32 weeks. They come in 4 different shipments, okay? Why do they come in 4 different shipments? Because we want to stay current. You know, textbooks, computers, almost cars as well, when you pull them off the lot, they get dated so quickly. That is a feature of the Gospel Weeklies that I just love, because our editorial team, Erika, as an example, they're always thinking ahead, writing about something new, anything special that's taking place in the church, maybe the Vatican, maybe society itself, COVID, that type of thing. We're able to update our program and be able to teach the children, and then circle back around and bring their Catholic faith to it. And that is why we have the 4 different shipments. But during this is Unit 1, and there are 3 different areas of color coding. You will find in your teaching guide, it narrows it down by length of class. So is your class 60 minutes, 90 minutes, or a school? Then it's broken down by the color codes. The color codes that Erika was talking about. She was talking about sharing the experiences. It is in blue. Discovering the gospel and the doctrine, and then living the gospel is in the red. So you have the blue color coding, the green, and the red. And then it also always makes notation on when to take reference in the handbook, what the church believes and teaches. And as Erika mentioned before, each area, whether it's the sharing the experiences, discovering the gospel, it's so self-explanatory. They tell you exactly what to do. They even include prayers. They tell you what to do, what to say, what questions to ask, what are. It's very, very, very self-explanatory. But if you see this 3-page to a brand new catechist, one could get a little overwhelmed, maybe, you know, if they're brand new. That's where the parent teaching pages come into play. So Bob, if you could share your screen, that would be wonderful. And we'll take a look at the Gospel Weeklies website, because there's so much information here. And like I said, we're kind of touching upon, and I definitely want to stay on target here with time. But then again, look there at the color codes. Okay, we got Erika's seeds that we were just talking about with her in the purple. And then we have promise, good news, adventure, and visions. So they all have their own color. And then down below that, there's always additional information that talks about the year of the family, our milestone anniversary that we talked about just a little bit earlier. Resources for everyone. So there's the resources. It's broken down by resources for families. And Bob clicked on that, and I want to show you specifically those parent teaching pages. So we were discussing, Emily had asked about family catechesis. Emily, let me also address to you. You just contact your sales representative, and they can assist you even further about family catechesis. I know we're going to have our Gospel Weeklies for family catechesis. We thought August, but Bob, maybe we'll look at doing May. If the need out there, we'll do it earlier. But the parent teaching pages is a very key, integral part of family catechesis. So what would take place would be, obviously, the DRE would organize and send the materials home by unit, okay? And then the parent has access. Right there, it shows you it's broken down by units. And you would click on, let's say, just click on September 19th, Unit 1, Bob, to be easy. And this is what the parent would do. And so right here, all of the questions, check off the box format is right here for the parent to teach. The upper right-hand corner, okay, May or June, all right? And so a lot of people are chiming in that they want it earlier. So guess what? We'll do that next month. Bob and I will put that together, and we'll get in deeper with the family catechesis. But as Bob's showing you there, it's broken down by the color there. See that the blue, share the experiences, the green, discovering the gospel. And very welcome, Don. And then the red is living the gospel for that week. And you can see the different activities and reference to the. And then at the very, very bottom where Bob's cursor is parent resources. So that's a QR code that all they scan, and it takes them to additional information. So what we will cover then in May will be ideas on how you can format and put together that family catechesis for your parent. So be on the lookout for that e-blast to register for that. And we'll break that down even further, because there are so many different things that we do have at Flam Publishing that is perfect for families. We just have to put it all together, and that's what we're here to help you with. Okay, just to scan down a little bit further down, Bob, the at home right there. This is another quick little resource that we'll discuss in May. This, click on that, Bob, if you wouldn't mind. And this is just another different way to create the conversation at home about the Catholic faith. The prayers that there at the very top. It's broken down, as you can see, by those color-coded grade levels. This gives a parent an opportunity to sit at the kitchen table, the dinner table, and discuss together with all grade levels of children. Our Gospel Weeklies, you can tell that I love the program. It's every grade level is grade appropriate for that age of child, and I love that. But this gives the parent the ability to, at that grade level, be able to talk to them on what they've learned and ask questions. So it's right there in front of them. That's what our editors at Gospel Weeklies, and Bayard across the board, we are so good with target and getting all that information there to be used. And then at the end of that was a prayer. So we even offer the prayer. We also offer assessments at the bottom, but there's so much information. And then the word of the week. The word of the week right there is for the Seeds and Promise grade level. So if you're a Seeds and Promise grade level, this is a perfect place to go as well. And then I will show you a new resource that we have offered this year that you'll just love. Okay, so Bob, one more thing I'd like for you to do is go back to the main page and scroll up. Yeah, there you go. So again, we're talking about the color-coded grade levels. Every grade level that you see there has all the same components that we just scrolled through. Okay, so, but let's click on Promise. So if we're clicking on Promise, right here is anything that you ever wanted to know about the Promise grade level. So this is where you go. Click, easy maneuvering. Teaching guides are even on here. So if you're a catechist that's teaching the Promise grade level, and let's say you need to forward some teaching guides to a teacher that's assisting you, it's all there. The weekly videos, like I said, every grade level has all of these same components. So those weekly videos are grade level appropriate weekly videos for Promise. And remember, Promise is kindergarten through first. So they are grade appropriate for a kindergartner, which is awesome. Now, if you clicked on Venture, that's funny that you clicked on Venture, and we both, or that's Visions. So they would have grade level appropriate videos for that grade level. So it's a one-click option, and you'll find everything that you need to know right then and there. Okay, so if you are a current Gospel Weeklies user, thank you. You have access to this website, and you have access to all the weekly videos, the Gospel at Home, the lesson updates. You have access to all the videos. And if you are not a Gospel Weeklies user, we want to help you become one. And so reach out to your sales representative, and we have a temporary code that you can use, and you can go online and you can surf around and see just how many resources that you have available to you, because there's so many, and we would love for you to do that. Okay, we got to stay on target here on time. So let's see here. So thank you, Bob, for sharing that. And I'm going to talk about a few different additional resources that we have available that will accent and push your faith formation program just over the top a little bit more, make it more exciting, bring the kids in a little bit more. The one thing I wanted to at least first mention is that every grade level, okay, every grade level across the board has folders specific to that grade level. So this is obviously Venture. Promise has theirs, Seeds has theirs, you know, all across the board. This is just Venture. I'm just showing you right here. They're very durable. It's a great way to organize your classroom. You can see inside here, there's different color in the place, the cross when you complete each lesson in the program, an area for name, and then on the back, there's always an activity, okay? Also, every grade level has an activity book. This is excellent when you are a catechist and you need some additional information to provide for that classroom. We have an activity book for every single grade level, okay? It is reproducible. So that is key, and you can use this all year long. So every grade level. Also, every grade level has a music CD. So these are some ideas. If you want to expand the program, you have information here that you can expand. Also, in the teaching guide of every grade level, there's an area that also talks about how to grow your program. You can dive deeper. If you have the time to do that, dive deeper, and we give you ideas on how to do that. And then, like I said, every grade level has a video, CD type, CD, not video, CD, and you can play the music when the students are coming in. This is perfect for the good news grade level, because when they're prepping for their sacraments, you can be playing appropriate music as well. There is a new product that I think is just the neatest, and it's for the Seeds and Promise grade level. It comes in a large sheet like this, but they're flashcards. And you cut them out, and there are little lines in the back. So that way you cut them all the same size. And they give you an idea on how to play a certain game. But the price point of this is excellent. You could have very easily a set of flashcards for both classrooms, because remember, this is for Seeds and Promise. And there is a name of the flashcard to learn, like for example, the gospel. And then on the back, I'm going to flip this around, you'll see the explanations of every flashcard. Once again, like I was mentioning with Erika, our pictures and our illustrations are they're just wonderful. I just love them. Very detailed, very bright, very fun, perfect for kiddos. One last item. If you haven't seen this book, you have to grab one. It is the best book. This is the Gospels for Young Catholics. It is a good news translation, and there's 52 featured stories. I mean, it's color coded. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, it's focused on them. It's color coded. I don't know if you can see that. The outside of the book is a flex cover. It's not hardbound, but it's flex cover, but it's very durable. This would be perfect, well, for every classroom, because think about the different activities that you could do to focus on those different featured stories. There's also in the back, there's bookmarks. There's also an area that teaches the student how to look things up in the Bible. There's also how to pray the rosary. So it has everything in here about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but then towards the back, there are different activities and an additional 52 illustrated stories. This book is wonderful, and I wish you could see it in person because you would fall in love with it. Every single person that I introduce this to, they love it. And this is just the best. Okay, so let's go on. It is 20 till 4, so I want to keep on schedule here. And I'm going to do a giveaway. And the item I'm going to give away is my little Catholic encyclopedia. Have you seen this in our brochure, in our catalog? This booklet this is another really good one. We come up with such great things. Look at the illustrations. They're fun. But what's great about this book, it's appropriate for any grade level. And I have 2 sons that are in their 20s. And I put this out on the coffee table because it's almost like, it's not like an encyclopedia back in the 80s when I was young. I'm showing my age, but back in the 80s when I was young, you know, you had that big encyclopedia set. It's not that. This is a book, but it's almost like all the questions you ever wanted to know, you know, that you wanted answers to. That's what this book is. And there's so many great questions. And I had this out on the coffee table with my 2 boys. And even at their age, they're like, really? Wow, did you know, and it really was a great thing to have. So we're going to give this away. And so please, I'm going to ask a question. Is that just a kid's Bible? Yes. Well, yes, I would say so. It's a kid's Bible. It's geared towards the Gospels of Mark, Luke, Matthew, and John. And I would say, I mean, you'll learn. An adult, I read it, and it's definitely a great learning tool, but it is geared toward children, I would say, to answer your question. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do the giveaway on this. And my question, so get your fingers ready on the keyboard, is the first one to answer the question, Bob is going to see, and then I'll send this out to you. Okay. Okay, the question is, how many grade levels are there with the Flam Gospel Weeklies? Well, Lorraine, that was quick. I think Lorraine was first, Bob?
No, Kayla.
Kayla was first.
With the 5 levels, right?
Yes. Well, 5, okay, Kayla was first. And then since I gave a shout out to Lorraine, she was second, right? With 5?
Yes, correct.
Okay, I'm going to send one to both of you. Okay, so Kayla and Lorraine, please put your shipping information, address of where you would like this shipped to, and I will send these out to you tomorrow. Okay, you're going to love them. And like I said, they can be utilized any size classroom. Even youth group would love it. So, okay, so anyway, here we are at 1/4 and we pretty well stayed right on target. And if there's any questions that maybe we didn't cover, I know there's so much we could have covered. If there's any burning question that you need answered right now, put it in the chat and we can answer that. Otherwise, be on the lookout for next month for a webinar, and it will probably be, I'm guessing, maybe the week of the 16th or the 9th or the 16th, one of those weeks, depending upon Bob and I'll have to get our calendars together, and then we see where we can do that webinar. And that is why Bob and I are doing these webinars, is that we want to encourage you all to communicate with us. Let us know what you need. What are your struggles? What can we do as a company to help you teach your faith formation curriculum each year? And because we have the products here, we just have to make sure that everyone knows how to use them and that they know what is available to them. So be on the lookout mid-May, and we will do a Gospel Weeklies for Family Catechesis. Thank you so much for requesting that. And thank you again for attending today. It has been my pleasure being here. And Bob, as always, thank you. And Erika, if you're still there, Erika, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. You did a wonderful job.
Well, thank you. And thank you,
Thank
everyone. Thanks, Erika. And thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. And we look forward to seeing you next month. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.